welcome. In this video, I want to talk about the context of a power play. When I talk about approaching training as a intervention, I talk about a interaction-based method, okay, specific interactions that change perceptions of dogs the right way, okay, which connects to diminishment of unwanted behavioral issues. But this whole thing about the role of influence itself by way of dogs as social animals, your role, as well, again, as when I talk about a power play, you know, reconciling what that really means, but lining that up with the parenting example. So again, you know, this video will be very helpful, okay, as I talk through helping reconcile, you know, certain reactions of dogs, understand the role of influence, as well as when I talk about power play, what does that really mean in terms of challenge, conflict, okay, with the dog, and certain reactions. Now, how you want to look at this, again, we talk about, you know, a power play, okay, how you want to, you know, reconcile what that means, and taking this over to the parenting example, consider, because again, understand, this is why I talk about, often on my videos, I will talk about the parenting example as a reference point, because it aligns almost perfectly. It parallels, okay? And so if you're a parent and you've ever dealt with a relationship issue with your child, an example I use, a child that's become very selfish, because again, that's the example I go to, because that really is what, in terms of even reconciling what behavior issues represent. I talk about as the child becomes more and more selfish, behavior issues escalate. You look at dogs as social animals, you'll see the same, how that corresponds. But in terms of a power play, okay, it's a type of power play, it's a type of, you know, dynamic that is exactly the same as a parent, okay, who's moving from the permissive parenting style to the authoritative parenting style. When I say authoritative parenting style, understand that's the agreed upon right parenting style versus authoritarian. So authoritarian is the over the top. Okay, so when you talk about, you know, when you look at, say, dog trainers, some dog trainers that are over the top, okay, that comes from both confusion over both the process, but also, you know, what influence represents. It's trying to bring influence into a process, and the process itself is appearance-based. It doesn't line up, okay, so it's reactionary. And again, I talk about a lot of this on my videos, but getting back to this whole issue about a power play, again, moving from, you know, the permissive to authoritative parenting style, and how you want to see a power play, it's a type of transitional process, type of transition where the child, okay, isn't going to like the fact that you're moving into a different way of parenting, a different way of interacting, a different way of engaging, and then on top of that, okay, you have to kind of add to that the fact, based on the current state of the relationship, the child's already selfish. Okay, so understand that this not liking, okay, a couple things happening here is you're attempting to reverse course, okay? And so understand these are the same themes I talk about in the dog training world. You're reversing course. You know, you understand your role in doing that, okay? But the child isn't going to like, okay, based on the current state of relationship, based on getting to do what they want to do. They want to, you know, sit and play video games 24 hours a day. They get to go to wherever they want to do, but now there's problems, okay? And, you know, they're not an adult, okay? So, you know, but they're not going to like the fact now you're getting in their airspace differently. So when I say power play, this is what I'm talking about, okay? So there's going to be pushback. So that pushback, okay, that type of pushback is not based on the fact that you're being unreasonable. Okay, so when I talk about interaction-based methodology, you know, in terms of the reasonableness, what these interactions represent, it's very similar to a parent who's interacting with a already selfish child, but being reasonable. Okay, they're just not going into the bedroom and, you know, in terms of video game system, and just, you know, smashing the system or ripping the cords out of the wall. Right? They're going in and having a conversation, but they're taking action, though. They are, you know, it's authoritative. So, you know, they may limit the gameplay, okay? there's rules that are starting to happen. The child still isn't going to like it. Okay, so the power play part of that, when I talk about power play, that's what I'm referencing. Okay, so dogs are social animals. There's a not liking the fact that you're transitioning to a different role. Okay, the right role. Okay, again, representing leadership, representing a different way of interacting, getting in the dog's airspace differently, influence being part of the equation now. This is how you want to think about it. It's not about being over the top, but there may be an appearance of being over the top, okay, based on the current state of the relationship. Okay, if a dog's holding a lot of control, then the reactions themselves are still going to be, there's going to be conflict there. There's going to be a not liking there. There's going to be challenge coming to the surface. But even in saying that through the system, okay, there's ways to make adjustments. I make those adjustments because the goal is always to absolutely gain the most level of agreeableness possible, considering, okay, that you're, this is an interaction-based approach. So it is a power play. So understand that, you still want to keep the level of agreeableness with the dog as high as possible, while at the same time not going over to that, not bending towards bribery. Okay, understand this is the line. I talk about there's a line there, or so many people don't understand where that line is. That line becomes very fuzzy for trainers, for people to understand. But I understand where that line is. Because this is why I talk about, a intentional interaction-based approach, being committed to it, okay, being, aligning properly with it, okay. It's no different than aligning with the authoritative parenting style, being fully invested in the right parenting style. No confusion, because understand, when there's confusion, when you start to play all sides, this is where problems start. All right, so understand how that, but again, get back to this issue about a power play. You want to line it up with the parenting style. That's what I'm talking about. So the reactions themselves with the dog make sense. Okay, this is where you're getting, the foundation, but you're getting a baseline. Okay, you're getting real-time information at the very beginning, the right way as to the current state of the relationship, but also change happening in a very intentional way. So the reactions themselves begin to level off. Okay, because everything's moving in the right direction. Everything is moving the same way. So, my encouragement is really think about, when I talk about an intervention, I talk about a power play. Line this up with the right parenting style that makes sense. It makes sense to the parent. It makes sense to the child. The child isn't going to like it, okay? But they're going to come into agreement with, because deep down, the child wants a parent that that cares the right way, that's invested the right way, wants to spend time the right way. So it's all about making sense versus the other way. Understand, this is the problem. Understand that when the temptation is to when you look at something, you want to take the time to fully absorb it. Okay, my encouragement, anyone that's struggling to understand the system of training, is take a look at the video content. Like the board and trains are a good place to start, because I talk through all of it. I show the whole 14-day process every day. I'm putting video content out, so I'm talking through it. Dog owners who invest in the system, that say do a board train, they get extra content on top of that. They get their own area where I'm putting even more information, private video content that they get as well. So the great thing about this system of training is, like, it's not meant to be information overload, but it's really meant to understand, okay, what you're doing and why you're doing it. Understand, that's something that's lost in the dog training world. You have a dog moving around doing the sit down, come and stay. I just look at it and say, well, what is that exactly? Like, it's almost ridiculous saying, okay, well, they're selling that, but is that really, like, what's happening below the surface of all that? Well, how's that connecting to the relationship? Does that actually mean that the dog's perceptions are changing? And then, let's put it to the test. See, that's the thing. You can always put the relationship or a picture to the test, by way of being connected the right way through a leash, control, right? Look at it. So my encouragement is really think about it. I talk about power play, line it up with the parenting example. Thanks for watching.